Next, we have the Treasury of Atreus, which is misleading. It's not actually a treasury. I mean, it is in that it contained treasure, grave goods at one time, but it is in fact a tomb. And this is known as a beehive tomb, primarily because of the shape of the dome inside of it, which we will see shortly. What they would have done, much like Newgrange, is build out the structure and then bury it, basket by basket. And this is a way of safeguarding the structure. Now, it was located outside the citadel wall at Mycenae. The reason is you want to, by the time we get to the Greeks and the ancient Aegean, you want the dead to be separated from the living. We don't want the malevolent spirits or the bad spirits, potentially bad spirits, of the dead coming back and haunting us. This is far removed from the bodies being buried under the home that we saw at Jericho or Catalhoyuk. And we see a long passage leading to the tomb itself. This is there as sort of a ceremonial way of getting into the hill. This would be primarily for the procession, for the burial, and then afterwards it would be buried over so that no one else has access to it. It also would have had an impressive bronze-clad oak door. Oak being a very strong wood, especially very, very old growth oak, which they would have had easy access to. So it would have been quite a remarkable structure. Inside, we see this incredible corbel vaulted dome. Now, the dome itself probably wasn't this smooth when they created it. They would have built it like any other corbel vault, like we saw at Newgrange or we saw at the Citadel at Tyrene's. But then they went through and smoothed it so that we get this very solid, smooth dome. And you see it comes up to a point, very common in corbel vaulting. And that's where we get the term a beehive tomb, because it looks very much like that typical beehive structure. Here we see a relieving triangle, again over the lintel, allowing for the weight to be pushed off to the side to stay off of that horizontal piece above the door. And the dome is truly a remarkable piece. Here you get a sense of scale of how large this is, how much time it would have taken to stack the stones, to smooth them out, and then once done, to bury the entire thing. So it would have been really impressive. This is really an evolution of a corbel vault. It's creating a structure that is much more similar to what we're used to in modern domes today. And then the whole thing eventually was buried. Now, they're not using excavators and such, obviously. They're using baskets of soil. And what this means is that soil is being built up, that hill is being built up slowly around it, relatively slowly, meaning that if there are problems, they can be adjusted for, which is sometimes how we get some really remarkable structures. By burying it, it also makes the dome or the arch much stronger, because these forms, when they're under compression, gain strength. So if you push down on a dome, it gets stronger. The same with an arch. You're pushing everything into place, whereas any other direction the force would be taken is going to cause a great deal of issue. And it seems like a lot of work for something that'll be buried, but again, the pyramids are the same thing. It's a lot of work for basically a dead pharaoh.